So welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm Tyson Franklin, and my co-host is Big Jim McDannald. Jim, how are you doing today?
Tyson, I'm doing well. I still chuckle every time they call me Big Jim, but being 5'9", 145, I guess I did earn that title. But
You did. I was going to do it almost like the wrestling. I was going to lean right into the microphone and try and get the really echoey voice happening, try to do some sound effects, but didn't worry about it. So Jim, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to talk about different ways of delivering podiatry marketing and how do you get started once you decide this is something that you think is valuable for your practice, just like really breaking down kind of some pros and cons as far as different options you have to move forward with your podiatry marketing efforts.
So it's just like when people say, oh, I want to do marketing, but I don't have time. So they're not sure where to start, or do they do it themselves, or do they outsource it? What do they do?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where people run to, and they finally see that, okay, this is something that I should be doing, but what are my options, and what are the pros and cons of those? So I'd say the first one, like you said, is can you do it yourself? Do you have time? Do you have some kind of either marketing background or digital knowledge? Like obviously, if you're part of a large practice, maybe this stuff is already taken care of for you. But if you're in a small practice, you got more time than money, maybe at least learning some of the basics can be a beneficial thing. And then if you've done some more digital stuff, building out your own website or looking into some of these other digital channels is an option. But that's where most people start, is that should I do it myself? Or as they run out of time and they have more money than time, it's okay, I don't really want to do it myself anymore. Who could I bring on, or what are my options at that point?
And it'd also come down to what you like doing.
Sure.
So it'd be like if you say, I don't like marketing. I really just, the whole thought of having to do it, I just don't enjoy it. Not that it's cringy and I don't believe in marketing, but I just don't want to do it and I don't want to learn how to do it. So that's perfect for that person because they may have the time to do it. They might have the money to do it, but they just don't want to do it.
Yeah, if they don't have the passion for it or the passion to really know how to drive ROI and really just make sure that it's a profitable enterprise for themselves, then it's that kind of at that crossroads where what am I going to do? And what is that kind of like path that you want to walk down after that?
So if somebody was thinking, should they just go to one company and just get it all done by that one company or that person? So like you're an individual person. Me personally, if I was going to get somebody to look after all my marketing for me personally, I would rather talk to just one person. And now they might have a team behind them, but I just want to talk to the one person.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of different ways, different layers as far as when you start walking down that path. I think the first step is that, do you want to outsource it? Is it something you want to hire on to have someone on staff? And each one of those has definitely some benefits and some upsides and downsides. I'd say for an outsourcing standpoint, the first thing is, okay, I hear it a lot. And sometimes like, how do I know who to trust and where to go, right? Who's done it in the past as far as podiatry marketing for other clinics? Who other people worked with? Should I work with somebody locally? If I outsource it, that's the first step, is this kind of what is the outsource opportunities? And then also maybe it would make sense. We're either a big enough practice now where we could hire somebody in, but then it's the same kind of thing. Who has a skill set? How much are you going to have to teach them about podiatry if they don't know about the profession? What have they done previously, and how well does that translate to the nuances of medicine? Obviously, when you're marketing medicine and healthcare, it's a different the rules are a little bit different than they are for products or for other types of services. So it is this if you're going to go down the outsource or the hiring route, like knowing what you're getting yourself into in those two realms.
Yeah, I think it's really important too, because I enjoyed marketing, so I never had a problem doing it myself. As I got busier and the clinic got bigger, I then employed somebody to help me. So I employed them in-house and we actually worked together doing things. And while I was then seeing patients, they were looking after certain things for me, making sure stuff was done, boxes were ticked, dots crossed, dotted, T's crossed, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, my grandmother, just showed my grandma then, didn't I? But I do know other people that they found someone and they just prefer to outsource it and not take care of it themselves at all.
Yeah. And I think I don't think either one of those is necessarily better than the other. It's what's more comfortable for the person in charge, what they want to do, and what they want to oversee within their practice, right? If they have the bandwidth to manage it or just to have it in-house, if that's more efficient for their time. It's just one of those things too, right? You have to know what that level, that person you're bringing in, if you do hire somebody, right? And you probably don't want to try to do all the things at once. It's one of those things where you have, maybe it's email marketing or website stuff, and then the person can scale up as you're working with them. But also, like you talked about, if you're going to Outsourcing is also a great opportunity because maybe someone doesn't have to be brought up to speed. Yeah, there maybe like a monthly check-in after a period of time, or maybe there's an
Yeah.
onboarding process for a couple of weeks where there's a lot of close collaboration. But after you get the kind of rhythm and flow of what's working, developing an active plan together doesn't necessarily mean that the practice owner or the podiatrist has to be like in the weeds every day talking to the outsourced person. It's just maybe it's like a monthly check-in that just kind of sees where things are on a monthly basis, or something really in depth on a quarterly basis to make sure that those targets you're shooting for together are being met. And if not, how do you change course to make sure that as the practice evolves, the marketing plan around the practice evolves as well?
How does somebody identify someone who's dodgy? Because that's one thing where I've had people say, oh, I worked with somebody and I worked with them for 6 months, got no results. And then I found out they closed up shop and they were no good. I saw something on Facebook a couple of weeks ago now, and they said, oh, for $99 a month, we will do so many Facebook posts for you, and we'll do this, and we'll give you a monthly report. And I'm like, 7 posts of what? There was nothing there about, we will talk to you and work out a strategy and what is it you're trying to achieve with your business. So I know you could quite easily sign up for these different companies who, they'll do 7 Facebook posts for you a month or a week. But are they posting the same stuff on your Facebook page as they are on another 50 podiatry clinics? There's no consultation with you, what your strategy is or where you want to take your business, which would completely change how they would deliver the content.
Yeah, there's definitely some red flags that get raised. If you're getting like cold called out of the blue, or there's just certain aspects. If someone's has never worked with a podiatrist before, but claims that they're going to generate like an extraordinary amount of new patients, say, we're going to get you 50 new patients this month. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. There's different ways to like filter some folks. If someone's spoken at like a state or local association, it doesn't necessarily mean they're like great. Maybe they'd speak at an association and they provide some references, right? Or if you go to their website and if they've been working with some different podiatry clinics and you reach out to those podiatry clinics, it's definitely worthwhile, I think, to do some due diligence on the backgrounds of some of these folks. Because even if some people work with a lot of podiatry clinics, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get like a custom plan or something personalized. And it's also where you're at in your practice, right? Maybe when you're just getting started off and you have zero money, like someone's going to charge you $500 a month just for a website and for a little bit of stuff. That's enough maybe, but you need to know that it's not always the most expensive is the best, because I'm sure there's some charlatans out there that just want to charge you ridiculous amounts of money. You have to know whether you're like in a situation where it's more, say, like a boutique or more of a customized and personal situation. So that's people that are onboarding you, asking you questions about your practice, really helping you build out a website that feels very custom and not as cookie cutter. Some templates compared to other ones are okay, but it's pretty easy to tell. Unfortunately, it's pretty easy to tell 3 to 6 months into a contract, like how somebody operates, as opposed to the kind of dog and pony show they give you at the beginning. We've worked with, if they said they've worked with over 50 to 100 clinics, it's probably a sign that you're just another number and another person they're going to hand off to their like customer service manager. And you'll really never have kind of a close contact with anybody that really, I don't know, like truly understands the profession or the person that's building or writing the stuff on your website.
So it's two extremes. You can go to a company that's really big who says, we're working with 100 clients. So you know you're just one of 100. And the person who's looking after your stuff could be anywhere around the world, and they're probably chopping and changing all the time. And then you got the other extreme where, and I think I told you the story when I was at a networking breakfast, and we're all there. Most of us are adults. And this dude turns up on a skateboard, because that's how I usually arrive to my networking breakfast for business. So he rocks up on a skateboard, and so I started to him, so what do you do? And he goes, I do online marketing for people. I'm like, oh, fair enough. I said, how long have you been doing that for? He says, 6 months. And I said, so you any good? He goes, not really, but I'm getting better. With the more clients I get, the better I'm getting. He says, don't tell anyone. He said, I'm actually just learning off of their coin. And I wanted to hit him over the head with a skateboard, because I thought that is what is wrong with that. Yeah, because anybody can just, you don't need any qualifications to say, I can help you with your online marketing. Anyone
No, for sure. No, that 100%. And I think one thing you made me think of too, as a red flag, is that you need to make sure that the person you're working with is willing to like basically have a non-compete, meaning that they're not working with the same clinic just down the road, or their platform doesn't allow for people that are basically going to have almost an identical website, identical functionality, identical marketing as you. advertising on the same keywords as you just because you're using the same service provider. So I think that's another thing always to ask is, does your service or are you the provider for any of the kind of like other local podiatry clinics? Because like it or not, there's going to be a conflict of interest there,
Like,
but this is not an illegal thing. It's more of a trust and a moral or issue than it is from a business perspective.
coaching is exactly the same thing. I know some of these like larger coaching organizations where if they've got 100 or 150 clients that they're looking after, I almost guarantee there's going to be clients that are very close to each other and there could be a slight conflict. Whereas I know when I do coaching, if I'm dealing with someone in a particular area and somebody else approached me from that area, I'd say, I can't do it because I just can't do it. But that's just me.
No, that totally makes sense, right? It just, yeah, you have that kind of like the moral certainty that like you're providing the best service for this one person in this area and you're just doing the best you can for them. I think it just keeps everyone aligned with the same incentives and you're not like wondering, okay, which Google ad is going to get shown?
Yeah.
What am I bidding? Because like sometimes you can actually physically bid up a keyword in a local area against yourself or against the two clients you're working with. If you put yourself in that predicament. So I would definitely ask if they have any other local clients. That's another red flag.
Yeah. And it is true because if you're working with somebody, whether it's marketing or with coaching, you put your hat on and I want them to be the best in their area. How can I help two people be the best in their area at the same time? So if I was working with someone, they left, then somebody else came on board, then my focus would be on them. And I think it works exactly the same as finding a provider to help you with your marketing.
No, for sure. That definitely makes a big difference.
Somebody's listening to this and they're going, okay, Jim, where do I start? How do I find this right person? Other than yourself, of course.
Yeah, I just want to touch base real quickly on the kind of all-in-one versus multiple providers. I think we touched it on a little bit, but it's like one of these situations where if you do sign up with a big company, yes, there are definitely value adds to having kind of a big company that can do repetitive processes that have worked for them with other clients, but you're also losing that direct human contact. And you're probably going to have a salesperson that's going to sell you the package. You're going to have maybe like a content team, like a writer, website designer, but there'll be probably a project manager that'll be the person you work with. And then they'll hand you off to a customer service rep probably at the end. So if you have problems or issues, your site goes down or you get a horrible Google review, you probably get like one person, then we'll have to talk to 3 to 5 other people, which is, if that's what you want, that's totally fine. But that's what you're getting when you probably pay a little bit less for one of these kind of multiple provider services. But if you're looking to have obviously a consultant or expert that kind of is like a single point of coordination, I would say, doing your email marketing, doing your Google ads, and obviously full disclosure, this is what I do. But like when you have that person that you can just turn to once a month, that's the person that's writing the stuff on your website. That's the person maintaining it. The turnaround and to be able to communicate like that, it's just a different level of customer service that obviously requires to be a bit more expensive. But at the same time, you have to feel it's right for you and for your practice. And whether that's podiatrist that now does marketing or a bigger conglomerate or a digital marketing provider that's more software based, that's less personalized, you've got to figure out what's right for you.
Yeah. And even when you're thinking old school marketing, like up here where I live in Kansas, a number of like media companies, they call themselves, where they will do, instead of you working with, say, a newspaper rep, magazine rep, TV, radio, online marketing, you can do that individually, which is what I used to do. I used to work with everybody individually because I could screw them down to a really good deal and I knew how to do it. It was an art form I had created over a number of years. Or you could go to an agency and they would deal with all these different people for you. And I can see the advantage of some people wanting to do that because it saved them time dealing with one person. They say, this is my budget for the month. And they would let them dish it around everywhere. But dealing with individual people for different areas was beneficial for me. But I knew some media agencies that really didn't know what they were doing. They provided all the services because that's what they had to do, but they really did not know what they were doing. And it really, all it took was a bit of questioning to actually find out. It goes back to what you said before about asking them questions about who they're working with, what have they done in the past. One thing I used to say to every sales rep that ever walked into my clinic, one, tell me, oh, yeah, nice to meet you. So tell me what you know about podiatry. Before you put that proposal in front of them, which I know you spent so much time putting together, what do you know about podiatry? And you'd be surprised how wrong their answers were. But they go, oh, but this proposal's perfect for you. And I go, but what you just told me isn't what I do. Oh, yeah, but this proposal's perfect.
I think you nailed it. It's about that tight focus on actually knowing what podiatry is and be able to shed a positive light on it. In a personal way that really connects with those potential patients. So yeah, everyone finds their own way down this path of finding the person to deliver their marketing services.
I know for a fact that if someone wanted to, say, do a Google AdWords, and they wanted to put something together, if they come and spoke to you as a podiatrist and said, this is what I want to do and how can I achieve it, it would make more sense talking to you than talking to a complete stranger in another company that's never dealt with a podiatrist. Even if they go, oh, but we've got all the tricks and the tactics. Actually, Jim has all the tricks and the tactics and podiatry knowledge.
You also have to speak patient and you have to speak podiatrist, right? And I think and if you don't know the terminology the podiatrists use and you don't know the terminology the patients use, there can be a great disconnect. And I think that's where this kind of translating some of these things that we talk about as podiatrists into the language patients use is hugely important. And sometimes these agencies or larger organizations, they can throw around some of terminology to make us feel comfortable. But if they can't do the real translation of those two things, then it won't connect or it'll just feel off to potential patients.
Yeah. The person I know who not to talk to is don't talk to me because I don't want to do it. I love running my marketing workshops and putting together, like looking at marketing as an overall structure and strategy of putting it all together. But when it comes to the actual doing, that's where if it's anything to do online, I would just push them to you or somebody else that I know. I wouldn't do it.
I appreciate that recommendation. This podcast is not meant to be a full Jim McDannald's Podiatry Growth Services, but at the same time,
why not? Why not? We may as well. You should blow your own trumpet occasionally. I know when it comes to business coaching, when it comes to business coaches, I blatantly toot my own horn that I think I am one of the best business coaches going around for podiatrists. I don't shy away from it at all. But, and when it comes to marketing, like online stuff, I think you are really good at what you do. So you should blow your own trumpet. I should have a trumpet on here as my sound effects.
I love doing it, honestly. Like I got into this because I had classmates and residency mates who felt like they're having the wool like pulled over their eyes. At least give people like a straight shooter, like here's what to expect, information that can be valuable to them. That brings me a lot of joy to be able to provide that to my fellow podiatrists out there, whether they're in the US, Canada, around the world. It's definitely something that we all feel driven by something. And I feel driven by the kind of intersection of podiatry and marketing. So I'm always excited to get on these calls with you, Tyson, and hash it out for around a half an hour and help out our podiatrists that are around the globe.
Yeah. And I will point out to everyone, Jim does not pay me a cent to blow his trumpet for him. Maybe I should have set that up before. Jim, give me a cut. But it's one of those things that, like you said, you love doing what you're doing. I love doing what I'm doing. This podcast, the Podiatry Legends podcast, doing the coaching, I just get such a kick out of it. It's not just the work that you do and the people you work with. It's the end results that you see other people get that you just go, and knowing that you could get when all the conferences and get back together, that you're going to go into conferences and there's people there you just know that you've helped and you don't know where that is going to go in the future. You're like, the person you help, who are they going to help next and what are they going to achieve in the world? So to get off my soapbox.
No, that's good soapbox.
So Jim, have you got anything else to say? Any final comments before we wrap up?
No, I think there's a lot of different ways that podiatry marketing services can be delivered. Obviously, rewind, listen back to this podcast as far as what I think are some different options, what the pros and cons are. And then if you ever have questions about these topics, Tyson and I are available. So feel free to check out podiatry.marketing and get in touch with us.
Yeah, that sounds good. And if you want to know more about newspaper, magazines, TV, radio, all that old school marketing, I just kick ass in that. Okay, Jim, talk to you next week. Look forward to it. Okay, bye.